Rory. God bless you from me, Rory, Alec. It's Thursday, morning, noon, or night, or whatever day it is. Welcome. Episode 2 of Spirit, Soul, Body podcast, where you and I hang out together. We talk about things spirit, soul, and body. And it was a wonderful kickoff on this podcast. First episode was 2 days ago, Tuesday. And to all of you wonderful guys and girls, thank you for your great encouragement and your wonderful comments. I really appreciate them all. And on YouTube, on Facebook, thank you so much, guys. It's really wonderful. Hi, Rory. So great to see you back. It's been a long time. Great podcast. Love from the Landy family. Love you guys too. Thanks so much. And then Girl Friday says, so glad to see you back. I used to watch you on GODTV. And you had an anointing then, and you are still anointed now. Well, God gets the glory. Girl Friday for sure. So excited how God will be using you on your broadcast. She's from the United States of America. God bless you guys in the U.S. And Nick says, hello, Rory. I'm looking forward to the future Spirit, Soul, Body podcasts. Looking at this on my iPhone here. I first came to believe in the Lord Jesus through your GODTV channel, hoping to strengthen my faith through your podcasts. God bless you and your family. Well, Nick, thank you so much. And then Irene from Germany says, so great to see you and to experience the true love that was always hidden in you. Living waters are flowing from you. Hallelujah. Big hearts from Irene, and thank you so much, Irene. And then Sally says, welcome back. Awesome word. With lots of prayer signs. And then, of course, a whole bunch of you guys and girls are finding some of my previous vlogs and Good Morning World. They're all on my YouTube channel. Feel free to check them out. Today, we're talking about fat. A fat Rory. Yeah. And it's so much more than just being fat. It's just overweight. I don't care where you are, who you are. Being overweight is not how we have been designed. And I know the whole world's going woke crazy and everyone's trying to say, well, hey, listen, overweight's fine. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. In fact, they're even glamorizing it in fashion. I'm sure you guys and girls have been seeing that on social media. And I just want to say to you, I don't mind who you are. Being overweight is not the way we were created or designed to be. And being overweight is a sign that our body is stressing in terms of with what we're dealing with, what's coming into it, what we're feeding ourselves, okay? And I'm not judging anybody. Listen, if you're overweight, I leave that with you. And on Spirit, Soul, Body podcast, we're going to cover all these areas because it's a journey that I am on. And the greater the revelation comes, the older you get. Let me tell you why. At 57 plus, going towards 58 fast, you quickly realize, hey, I've got one life, I have one body, and I have limited time. Now, nobody knows how much time we have left. And I might be gone today. Now, I know my better half downstairs as she watches the podcast will be going, Rory, don't ever say that. Stay around. You're going to be here forever. And I would be saying to her, no, my darling. There is coming a day and a time where my physical body will die. I will return to the dust that I came from. Good old South African dust is what my flesh is made of. Although, as you learn about your cells, you'll understand, well, hang on, actually, Rory, every 7 years, give or take, most of you is replenished. So there's kind of like a brand new you every 7-8 years. I think about that. That's incredible. What am I saying? I'm saying our cells renew. And I have to be careful before I get into full-on teaching mode because I'm really, really passionate about this. Something has taken place in my life in the last 3-4 months that I actually believe is a divine intervention in terms of my physical body. And when you join me on this podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be focusing on spirit, which is what I believe I am. You and I are eternal spirit. We live in a physical body, so we interact with our 5 senses, and all of this is processed, added to which we have our free choice, our moral choice, good, bad, and indifferent, all of the in between, our emotions, the kind of temperament that we are in terms of our generational. And then it gets very complex. Our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made. So all of these impact the soul and how we are and how we believe and how we make our choices every single day. So it's a huge subject matter that every Tuesday and Thursday I will have guests join me. And as you saw on Tuesday, I'm ready for our guests. I could switch to a nice guest position here. And no, we don't have a guest today, but I'm looking for a guest position so I could go ahead and do this on my system. And you would see guest there, guest number one. Who knows, maybe somebody from Mexico soon, let's see. And then there'll be me, and then there'll be the two of us. So I'm kind of all ready for that and excited about it. So let's come back to me. Let's hold all of those thoughts, spirit, soul, and body, and what we're going to be focusing on. And I'm going to kick off with a little video because, as I said on Tuesday, I've not been around on social media for a year and a half. Now, I'm a media veteran. I've been on front of cameras over 7,000 hours in my life. I imagine I've spent a humongous time in front of a camera. So it is a gifting, it's an ability, and it's a comfortable thing. It's part of who Rory Alec is. He is a communicator and he loves to encourage, and I'm comfortable in front of the camera. Now, extremely private, by the way. You might be surprised to know, but I am a super private person. So don't let my gifting fool you. If you don't hear from me, it's because everything's great. It really is. And one of my weaknesses, we'll all lay it out here on the podcast. But we're going to grow together, I think. We're on a journey, you and I. We're going to be hanging out for hopefully a long time. Now, if you don't like hanging out here, please feel free, move on. Don't waste your energy. Your energy is too precious, too valuable. Go and spend it where you can get benefit from and where you can be a blessing. If it's not here, I wish you well. But for those of you who are going to hang out with me in the days and the months ahead, the years, hopefully by God's grace, and I'm talking about all sorts of things, let me come back to the point of I don't know when I'm going to die. Neither do you. But I guarantee you and I are both going to die. Big pause. Big pause. Because I think if we have that not as an unhealthy thought in our mind, but as if we carry it as an understanding of that death is a graduation into eternal life, that death is a completion of a race, a period of time that you and I have here on earth. If we hold that, it will absolutely influence the decisions you're going to make about your tomorrow, even your today. You're going to take time and energy to study your past, not to get locked into your past, but to examine your past, to find experience from that. Draw on that experience so you make a better decision tomorrow. And the good news is there's always a new day starting in the morning, whichever time of the morning you get up. Okay. So I came to the conclusion by the back end of last year as I moved from 57 to 58. I would love to do more. I'd love to be a blessing. I'd love to be a greater encouragement to you and to whoever else. I'd love to have the next season of my life count. And most importantly to me, I want to please him, which, by the way, is one of my challenges. Most of my life, I've been programmed and trained to please people. And it's in this last 7-8 years since my divorce, since me stepping into a new season of my life, since me really coming to a place where I was, okay, I need him. He is the most important thing to me. I realized that pleasing God is the first and greatest priority you and I have. And this is a great challenge because we can get up to really freaky and strange things. We can be deceived. We can get on a wrong path. We can fall in a ditch on the left and the right. And so, again, this is a whole different conversation we don't talk about today, this Thursday, or whenever you're watching. But we will get to it when we focus on the spirit journey. But today I want to focus on the body journey, and specifically Rory's body journey, and the fact that I would like to live for at least another 25 years, and God knows how long I'll live. It might be until next week. He knows. And nothing can touch me as I walk with Jesus, as I'm washed in his blood, as I'm part of his purpose, his plan, his body. Nothing can touch me until I fulfill his purpose for my life. I can be attacked. I can go through miserable circumstances. My body can become weak and sick. I can go through emotional trauma. Things can happen in my life that can really hurt me. But nothing can remove me as long as I press into my first love. So, again, I want to just set the stage for this podcast today. Because at the back end of last year, I was 102 kilograms, 0.8. So 102.8. Now, no, that's not the heaviest Rory Alec has been. I've been heavier. I've been 106. And my correct body weight, or my proposed or suggested body weight, according to medical science, is I should be around 79 to 82 kilograms. So, hey, 20 kilograms plus. Okay. And as Carola and I were talking this morning, having a cup of coffee as I was preparing for today's podcast, she was just saying to me, my beautiful wife, she was saying, yeah, you've always struggled with your weight. And I have. And I'm going to come clean on this podcast in terms of why I've struggled with my weight. And but let me stop talking. Let me show you a video. Okay, since I was last on social media, the last year and a half, not been doing anything, we've had a couple of Christmases come and go. And just before one Christmas, here's yours truly, doing a little work in the garage. We'd broken the wall out in our living room, turning 2 rooms into one beautiful room in our house here in the heart of Europe, here in Austria. And we wanted to actually do some work on the ground and actually put some nice tile we'd discovered. But the tile had to be cut, so I called on my nephew to come in and assist me. And then we'll talk more about the weight. So what we're doing here is we are cutting the tile on this monstrous machine, which had to be carried in Mr. Penelope this morning. Unbelievable. But we got it. Talk about overweight. It's freezing outside. It's 0 degrees in the garage. And Christoph is graciously helping us cut these tiles today and installing them in the living room.
You won't let me down. I can feel it. You won't let me go. I can.
This one didn't crack, huh? No. And there's a very nice pattern on there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Well done, Christoph.
You won't let me.
You just have to now put some filler in there once everything's dried. Finish the wood trim here. So this wall, there used to be a wall here and we took it out last year.
Yeah.
And then we had an earthquake that did that. So, or a tremor. Right afterwards, we had an earthquake tremor. That was the drama there. So we still have to patch it up.
Yeah.
Waiting for everything to settle down. But it's looking very nice. And that is a good job.
And all the shoveling you did now.
I just shoveled all the snow here.
Wow, that was a lot.
And I'm a sweaty mess right now.
Now we have Frosty the Snowman here.
I said to Carola, I have never, ever in my entire 56 years of life made a snowman.
That's what you told me, yeah? Here he is. He looks at you, my love.
What shall we call him?
Yeah, Frosty. You call him Frosty.
He's very fine. A fine
Yeah.
specimen of a snowman. He even has a hat.
Yeah.
He's a little elegant and extravagant with his fur. Look how much snow's on the roof. My goodness, I don't know if it comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, hot and sweaty. I'm going to go and shower.
That's Frosty the Snowman.
102.8 kilograms with Frosty the Snowman there. By the way, the snow is beautiful. And right now, March, we've got snow happening here in Austria. Unbelievable. It was snowing last night. It was snowing the day before. Not cold enough for the snow to stick around, but nevertheless for it to snow still in March. I mean, I'm yearning for spring. Just let me get in the garden. Having said that, isn't snow beautiful? Except until it gets all smudgy and dirty and icky and messy. And for those of you guys who live in a snow world, when snow comes in winter, the shoveling of the snow. Anyway, we're talking about fat today. How to lose 10 kilograms in 50 days and more. Counting, by the way. So came to November last year, Rory. Alec visits his doctor. Went to visit one doctor and another doctor visited me. And so the first doctor that I went to visit did a full checkup on me and Carola. And we do this kind of once a year if we can. First thing he said to me, "You are overweight." Awful German accent, but you know what I'm saying. Austrian doctor says to me, South African, way overweight. 102.8 kilograms, mate. And you have a fatty liver. Okay, a fatty liver. Ah, you're insulin resistant. Uh-huh. You do understand, Mr. Stephen, that insulin resistant is one step before diabetes, and then you move on to diabetes 2, and then you're into a miserable lifestyle potentially. Uh-huh. And a whole bunch of other things, guys and girls. I mean, I'm telling you, I was given my okay, you're way overweight, you've got a fatty liver, you've got a gallbladder that's filled with gallstones. In other words, there's just too much bile being produced because you're eating too much this and that and everything else that you're not supposed to be eating, so to speak. You're spiking your insulin. Your body's become insulin resistant. So I got a kind of a wake-up call, and I think the thing that finally did it for me, because I love food. There you go. I said it on this podcast. I love food. In fact, I fall into the category, and maybe some of you will resonate with me. I love to eat. I don't eat to live. I live to eat, don't eat to live. Okay. Now, that's changed, by the way. But it didn't change just because I was, okay, you're in a dangerous position health-wise. You really need to do something. And there's probably a few other things I haven't mentioned on this podcast today that were not good with my body. But it's enough for us to talk about today. So anyway, so this is November, December. And I finished with this doctor, and then our house doctor comes to visit us here at the home and talks with Carola and I, and starts talking about our cells and silent inflammation, and starts talking about omega-6s in relation to omega-3s. That omega-6s, fatty acids around your cell membrane. And by the way, did you know we have 37, wait for it, here it comes, 37 trillion cells. I am made up of between 30 and 37 trillion cells, and so are you. Extraordinary. I mean, talk about that. And by the way, something like, I'm going to get it wrong now, 3.8 million cells every second are freshly created. So your cells are continually rejuvenating. For example, your blood cells take between 5 to 6 months to completely replenish themselves and be new. And anyways, the second doctor was at our home talking about omega-6s to omega-3s and talking about inflammation, and silent inflammation can kill you, how omega-6s are designed to be the warriors, not cells, but the omega-6 fatty acids around your cell walling is designed to be a warrior, a fighter, to attack viruses and bacteria and all the nasty things and reach out and fight them off. But if you have too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, which brings healing balance to the cell wall and keeps omega-6 in check, well, of course, this is all fascinating stuff. So my ears are open. But that wasn't quite the catalyst. The thing that really frightened me, and I tell you now, dear one, is I would wake up in the middle of the night and I could feel in my head with a high-pitched, almost like tinnitus, the very high pitch above this, and I felt to myself, I am feeling my blood pressure. I'm feeling it. Of course, that's the one thing I haven't mentioned today, is that my blood pressure was up at 172. So Rory, Alec's in bad shape, and I know I'm going on a little bit, but I want to give you a kind of an insight, and maybe you're there where I am at, and want to make the decisions that I'm about to share with you. And some changes needed to happen. So it was like, okay, now I was beginning to get a little fearful, because I've always been graced by God's grace with good health, relatively good health, and I'm relatively fit and I'm relatively strong, and I can pretty much do most things. So I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Eyesight is going down, and the brain is not as sharp as it used to be. I wish it was, but I don't remember as much as I'd like to. So of course you start having fears of dementia and Alzheimer's, and because, hey, majority of us will start to suffer with some level of dementia or Alzheimer. And I'm not being negative here. I'm simply saying this is the impact in 2023 that our bodies undergo. Why? Well, there's some very good reasons, and we'll start to look at them in the days and the months ahead in depth with experts, with guests joining me, and basically we'll sit in this 2 spot here and I'll say, hey, sorry, wrong way. Hey, what about this, and what about this, and what about this? And we'll talk about omega-3s and omega-6s in detail, how essential these fatty acids are to us. And of course, there's no guest there today, Rory, Alec, so let's just come back to the single monologue here of yours truly. Coming up to Christmas, I then got this bright idea. We started Christmas late, and actually, I got to just show you. I saw this video of me now. Hey, we're hanging out together. This is what this podcast is. And I haven't been around for a year and a half, so I'm just bringing you up to speed, okay? And I will get to where I need to go. Don't you worry. We'll wrap up probably in the next 6 minutes or so. But let me show you this video quickly before I continue with sharing this one. Nice fat boy there. Lovely fat boy. I mean, this is literally where I would be waking up at night and hearing all of this blood pressure in my brain, feeling my body.
Are you enjoying yourself? This here not so.
It's a bit stressful this year.
It's okay.
But some of us are managing the stress well. Oh, die Mamschilein schlafen so herrlich.
Das ist gut.
Ja. You excited all the kids are coming, huh?
Yes, this is very wonderful. Now, and once the tree is finished, then it's all wonderful.
We picked it up yesterday. Of course, everything's in a bit of a disastrous state at the moment. But it will all be looking beautiful and ready once.
Oh, baby.
Slap bang in the middle of COVID. Wow, what a crazy time. I mean, the last year and a half that I've not been doing anything on social media, we had COVID. And of course, Mamschilein, who I'll focus on a little bit more next week. My dear Mamschilein, my Jesus task, one of my Jesus tasks, I'd say the main Jesus task I have at the moment. And you might say, Rory, what was your last Jesus task? And my last Jesus task was GODTV, launching the United Kingdom and Europe's first daily Christian television channel nearly 30 years ago. And the fact that it still goes today strong is a wonderful encouragement, reaching people all around the world. But my current task is Mamshi, and we'll talk about Mamschilein. Next week, I'll focus on her a little bit because these are very important things to God that you and I love first at home and those closest to us, and grow and be and serve and support and be there for. Whether it's if you have no family around you, because there are some who have no family around them, your friends, your close friends, find someone you can be a blessing to, because the minute you start to give, he pours more back into you. The minute you start to touch and share and encourage and support, the same gets replenished within yourself. It's a wonderful thing. What we sow, we will reap. Anyway, I digress. I've got so much I want to talk to you guys about. So you can see the Christmas tree went up. And of course, that wasn't this Christmas. That was the previous Christmas when all of our kids, in spite of COVID, flew in from all around the world. The United States, from the UK, with their partners, their spouses. And of course, our boys from Vienna came in as well. And we had a full house, including Mamshi and a few others from our town here. So, I mean, we had about 12, 13 people for Christmas dinner. So talk about hectic. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. This Christmas, 1 year later, me just as overweight, if not a little more overweight, I decided to give my girl a present. So I ran upstairs, preparing as like a day before Christmas, and I got this card after my doctors speaking negatively to me about, hey, you better wake up, mate. You're in bad shape. My second doctor talking to me about omega-3s and omega-6s, and then introducing me to a company called ecology.com, which I then went into a full 2 months of research. And as of this day in March, I've become a business partner and I've started a business network. So, by the way, if any of you resonate and want to know more about omega-3s and omega-6s, and I can talk to you about that at length with great detail. Okay, now I'm going to spare you on this today because we've already traveled around long enough, and thanks for hanging out with me this long. By the way, let me know if you're enjoying this and if you're hanging with me and if you're resonating. Christmas comes, I run upstairs, I grab this card out of our excess cards, and I write in the back here to my darling Corolla. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, I scribble on the back there. This is your Christmas present. 10 kilograms by March 23 is what I finish up with on this here. And then I say, P.S. less is more. Little heart smiley face. I know, really cute, right? Of course, I forgot that we here in Austria have this tradition that all the Christmas presents are handed out by one of the family member to all of those around the Christmas tree. And then, starting either from the youngest or the oldest, everybody watches each person open up their Christmas present. So this is not a smash and grab and everybody rips off the paper and they all do their own thing. It's actually a wonderful tradition that I love. Okay, but I forgot about it. So, of course, this was counted as a Christmas present, and it was read aloud to everybody in the room. Now, this is important because this little guy, who I ended up calling the Red Baron, is a cardinal. And check him out on YouTube, by the way. He sounds very sweet. I didn't know this was a cardinal because I'm not really a birdie guy. I love birds. I love to hear them bring their bird song into my world. My ears deeply appreciate it. So it brings a great soothing to my life. But I don't know much about birds. But I got to know this guy because by this 10 kilograms by March 2023, I was made accountable. So here's the first lesson on how to lose 10 kilograms in 50 days. Be accountable. So the first thing is gain knowledge. Then you need to apply knowledge. We may have a lot of knowledge, but if we don't apply it, it's useless. Nothing happens in Rory. It doesn't change. So I did gain knowledge. I began to understand what fuels my body burns. It either burns carbohydrates, which are turned into sugars, or it burns fat. And by the way, we will talk at length in the months ahead how fat is essential, is wonderful, is actually the preferred fuel that your body likes to burn. Most of us burn sugars, carbohydrates, pastas, breads. Oh, that lovely glass of wine, white or red, doesn't matter. Whereas we should be eating more vegetables, but more meats, more fatty meats, the right fats, fish, getting fatty acids from our fish. So again, we'll talk about all of these things. This is fascinating. So I'd learned, number one, knowledge. I need a change. I need to get rid of my fatty liver. I need to get this insulin resistance down. What's causing it? I went through all of that. And today I don't want to get into the detail of that, but we will get there. Okay. But this guy became the key point. He became my accountability. And everyone laughing very sweetly at Christmas time about how Rory has given Corolla 10 kilograms less of him by March, including perhaps a little more cynical of the family, was like, yeah, right, mate, you're going to do this, right? I became accountable. That's a key thing. So the little red baron was sitting on this card was sitting next to my bedside. So every morning I wake up, I'd see him. Every once in a while, my darling would look at me very sweetly and definitely not the nagging wife type. And she'd say, thank you so much for my Christmas present, my love. I look forward to March. She never moans about my weight, ever. I appreciate that about her. And by the way, ladies, don't moan at your guys. It doesn't really help. Pray for them. That does help because I don't have to tell you. And vice versa. Guys, don't moan at your wives. It doesn't help. You can't change somebody else. They must change themselves. So I got to wrap this up on this podcast on this Thursday as we move rapidly towards the weekend. The Red Cardinal then challenged me. My second doctor who'd done the home visit in terms of my omega-6 to omega-3 ratio gave me a test, which was sent off to a laboratory in Oslo in Norway. And my test results were available on the 24th of December. I chose not to look at them. I chose to enjoy the Christmas turkey. I was very serious and had started by this time really plowing through YouTube, finding some excellent doctors online, and in the weeks and months ahead, I will refer them to you for your own research. By the way, everything I'm saying is my experience. This is my journey. You do your own research. But I'm here to say, as an example, it is possible. So, applied knowledge, have a plan, be accountable to the Red Baron. He's going to keep you in line. 1st of January, welcome to 2023. I'm 102.8 kilograms heavy. This is the scale I'm climbing on. This is on the 2nd of January. I start with my first step, a 7-day fast. I'm going to say this, I won't get into detail, but fasting is extraordinary. It is excellent for your physical body, even if you don't do it for a spiritual reason. What it does for your body, we will talk about in the weeks ahead. It is incredible. Autophagy takes place. Your body goes into rapid recovery. It actually has blueprints and plans at a cellular level to fix things up that are broken, to remove inflammation, to get rid of old waste, get rid of toxins, get rid of broken cells, completely destroy them and remove them from the body. All of this happens in fasting. So I started with a 7-day fast. But I knew why I was fasting, because the minute I started that 7-day fast, by day 2, I'd removed all the sugars in my body, and my body was suddenly rapidly realizing, hey, we need a new fuel source. We need a switch. We need to re-educate ourselves to burn from burning sugar to burning fat. creating ketones, which, by the way, is the main fuel for your brain. Spirit, soul, body. If your soul's going to function well, you've got to let your body feed your brain with the right fuel. So, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, hey, Rory, amen, brother. You're finally getting it. First step, January the 1st, I started with a 7-day fast. Oh, and I've fasted before. I've done 3 40-day fasts in my life. I understand fasting. The first 3 days are the worst. You get what you would call a flu. It's not a real flu. It's just your body goes into, okay, you're not eating. We don't have to process any more food. We don't have to store anything. We can just go ahead and start fixing ourselves up here. I had the worst 7 days of my life. I kid you not. If you're going to do the 7-day fast, I only took water with some lemon. That's it. No coffee, no tea, no nothing. No milkshakes, no any floating foodie thingies that were, taste good to the, nothing. It was pure. I went at it hardcore, brother. I want to tell you. 7 days. And then I knew when I finished my 7-day fast, I needed a diet. I needed something to start making the difference. It is only a fool, and this is my second wisdom tip today, to do what you continually have always done and expect a different outcome. It's just not possible. So the choices I make today need to be the right ones to influence my tomorrow. And I can't make the same choices that I made today that I've made before and that brought me to today and I see that I'm not happy with. For example, in this case, on this podcast, episode 2, we're talking about weight, my excess weight. So, speeding it right along. First 7 days, January the 2nd all the way through to the 9th, I jumped on the scale at 102.8 and I then dropped 4 or 5 kilograms in that 7 days. Now remember, most of that is water, and that's another conversation, how your body stores water. And I'm not talking about the fact that 70% of us is water, but I'm talking about the fact that there is also excess water stored around, and that's the first thing. It's stored around the sugars, and that's the first thing that gets removed. So you think, hey, I've lost a lot of weight, but actually you're just starting your journey, which, by the way, and I'm rushing a little bit on this podcast because I feel I want to do it in a half an hour, but there's just no way I'm going to do this. We're already coming up to 40 minutes. So enjoy, hang out, come back to this, part 2. Pause it. You can find me again. So, 7-day fast, and then I had learned about something called intermittent fasting as a permanent diet schedule, a permanent diet schedule. And intermittent fasting is basically where you eat in a window of 4 to 6 hours every day, and otherwise you're not eating. Well, it has been miraculous in my body. Now, my brother-in-law for years said to me, hey, don't eat in the evenings, Rory. I just tell you now, you won't have a problem with your weight. And he's 100% correct. Now, he never went into detail. Doctor of history, but he never went into detail in terms of why you don't eat in the evenings. But I did go into detail researching on YouTube and check out intermittent fasting. Now, there are many voices on YouTube. Feel the ones that give you the resonance of, yeah, this is knowledgeable. This is not somebody who's a wannabe and regurgitating somebody else's knowledge. Find yourself some great doctors, and there are some amazing doctors online that really give you incredible value and simply explain why things are what they are. And I will link them in future, and I may even have some of them as guests on Spirit, Soul, Body podcast. So I finished my 7-day fast, and I then went on to intermittent fasting, which I have done all the way through January, all the way through February. And by the time I got to the end of February, actually February the 14th, Valentine's Day, I didn't realize it, but it was planned this way. I reached my goal of having lost 10 kilograms as a gift to my beloved Corolla. And of course, I said goodbye. Arrivederci, ciao, tot sins, auf Wiedersehen. I said goodbye to the Red Baron, who'd been on my shoulder, keeping me accountable through that time. Actually, I will tell you something. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult to do a 7-day fast. It wasn't difficult to then change my eating lifestyle or structure to an intermittent fasting where I only eat in a 4 to 6 hour window. And it wasn't difficult to change my diet. I'm currently on a ketosis diet, leaning towards a carnivore diet. Again, we don't have time on this podcast today, But in the weeks ahead, we will dive into that on Spirit, Soul, Body, and we'll get experts talking to us about this, because I really want you and I to be the healthiest we can be. And it starts with what we put into our bodies. There's so many diseases and challenges, physical challenges that you and I face because of bad eating decisions. And even when we do eat organic and we eat well, it's not our faults, but we find that those who supply our food have challenges with a strong soil that's rich in minerals and nutrients and all the good stuff that gives healthy vegetables and healthy animals that we then consume and put into our bodies. Fascinating subject. So how to lose 10 kilograms in 50 days. Number one, knowledge. Know and apply that knowledge, which is coming next. Number two, being accountable with your plan. What is the plan? For me, my plan was a 7-day fast, water with lemon only, and of course I added some salts. Very important, Rory, Alec, don't forget to say that. It's essential that you get enough salt in your system when you're doing a fast like that. I then went on to intermittent fasting, and I started with a ketosis diet, which means I was focusing on healthy fats, meat, 2-to-1 ratio in terms of protein and fat, and I was eating vegetables, not potatoes. I love potatoes. What is nicer than a baked potato with butter and salt, a little bit of pepper, just to give you a bit of a I'm having fun today. Love you guys. I love you guys. Anyway, and so yes, I did. I gave the 10 kilograms to Corolla. And the Red Baron's gone off to plague somebody else. Who knows? Maybe he's on his way to you. Enjoy the little red cardinal. He's a cheeky fellow, but he will keep you focused and he'll keep you in line. So be accountable, have a plan, and then basically execute that plan with a pure determination. And why I said it was easy, let me finish that thought process, is because I had the knowledge. I realized what was happening. Number one, it's going to go much slower than you realize. Number two, you're going to have days when you feel crap. Number three, you're going to feel like you're not achieving it. You're going to look in the mirror and go, I look the same. I look the same. Believe you me, things are happening at a cellular level in your body that is literally miraculous. This is where God is so amazing, our creator. The one who created the universe, by the way, for everybody who says, the universe is willing this for me and willing that for me. I want to tell you something. I am serving the guy who created the universe, who's willing things for you. Okay? Being a little cheeky there. That's smart, Alec. By the way, we'll have that in future Spirit, Soul, Bodies as well. We're going to have a remember when, and we'll go back in my history and talk to interesting people who've journeyed with me in the past so we can all learn and be reminded of amazing things and not so amazing things. And there's another segment theme I'm going to have on this podcast called Smart Alec. You know, I'm legally allowed to say Smart Alec because my name is Rory Alec Stephen, my full name. And so my second name is Alec. So, and everybody knows me by Rory Alec. So I'm going to be Smart Alec from time to time. So there you go. You can love on the universe, appreciate it, but remember the universe itself has a creator. Think on that one. So 50 days, 10 kilograms, gone. Thank you, Jesus. My wife is blessed, happy, not just because her husband looks a slightly more handsome. yeah, right. And I know some of you guys and girls love fat. That's fine. I'm just telling you what the damage was happening to my body. My first doctor, the one who said, "Way, fatty liver, insulin resistant, blood pressure through the roof, mate, you're just in bad shape. Do something about it. Otherwise, we're going to have to cut your gallbladder out and get rid of it because you got too much blah, 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 blah." And there's a reason why your gallbladder is full, by the way. And I could talk about all of these things. I know I'm getting enthusiastic today. Take care of yourself. You only have one life and you only have one body. And that's what Spirit, Soul, Body is all about, is our journey. Some things you'll know ahead of me and know more about me. And I'm on my own journey. And I'm stubbornly on my own journey. Which maybe is not so wise, although I'm wisening up because I'm learning from people who are extremely knowledgeable and qualified in different things. Now, my two doctors that I talked about, great, they're monitoring to me. And the first doctor was thrilled when my wife said to him last week, "Hey, guess what? Hubby's lost 10 kilograms. He was like, "What? Really? Amazing." So you can do it. I know you can. Have a plan. Be accountable to your family and to the Red Baron, if you want, or find yourself your own Red Baron, and go ahead and walk that process through. But when you start with a fast, if you do start with a fast, start with a 3-day fast. That's a good one. If you can do 7, great. If you can do 14, do all of these things with your doctors working with you. Please don't do anything just because I'm suggesting it. I'm telling you what I did for my life. And when I finished that fast, I went on to intermittent fasting as a change in my lifestyle. I also made a decision not to burn sugars anymore, but to burn fat. So yours truly, Rory Alec, I'm not drinking any fruit of the vine. I love wine. I'm not drinking any more alcohol because it does damage. Even one glass, I know you're going to tell me one glass of wine is good for the stomach because the Apostle Paul said it. I know. But it does damage the liver. Now, the extraordinary thing is, even when I read my Bible, God himself says to the Jewish people, Israelites in the Old Testament, he says, knock yourselves out once or twice a year. Just go for it. I mean, just get happy. Drink all of that wonderful wine you've made for yourself. Now, I'm not starting up a debate on whether drinking is good or bad. Frankly, I'm at the position, everything in moderation, where you are in control of it and it is not in control of you. This is livable. This is manageable. And God's designed our livers in such a way this organ can function even if only 10% of the 100% of the liver's healthy and 90% is destroyed. And even if your liver's in not great shape, within 70 days, your liver can completely regenerate pretty much. So think about it. It's amazing. So if you have a binge and you get yourself really happy on Christmas or New Year or coming up to wherever and you've got a birthday or you're celebrating somebody's getting married, enjoy it. Okay, now don't be a fool, but knock yourself out. In other words, I will have a glass from time to time, but I've cut out all alcohol at the moment as I'm going to my target weight. What, Rory? 10 kilograms isn't enough? No, it's not. Because I want to look like this guy. Oh, you can't see me there because I got a clock ticking away. Let me just take the clock away. There it is. That was me 7 years ago. So that's 10 kilograms lighter than I am today. So now, am I doing this because I want to be vain? Not at all. Do I like to look good? Yes. And by the way, anybody who is overweight will probably tell those they love and trust, I would like to get in better shape. When I can't walk up the stairs here and I was huffing puffing because I'm coming up 2 floors to the little mustard seed studio here in Austria, huffing a puff, this is not good. So have a plan. Be accountable. Start with a 7-day fast if you can, or as your doctor recommends. Go into intermittent fasting. It's amazing. I know some of you think, well, we're supposed to have a kingly breakfast, a princely lunch, and a pauper dinner. Okay. We're also being told that fat's bad for you. And by the way, some fats are bad for you, but there are other fats that are essential. And because we've been told, go for a low-fat diet, we're actually not living the way that God's designed our bodies to live. I can't talk much more about that. I think you've got where I'm going to, and I'm excited. So I'll be back next Tuesday. I've loved hanging out with you. I know I've talked a hind leg off a donkey. Next week, I'll talk a little bit more about my task. I'll talk a little bit more about vision. We got guests that are lining up to join me here on Spirit, Soul, Body podcast in the weeks and the months ahead. At the end of the month, we'll be going to Turkey, perhaps. We'll also be connecting live with guests in Iraq. Lots of interesting things. Maybe some folks in London. Who knows? Maybe I'll even connect up with you. All things are possible. Listen, I'm going to finish with the scripture if my system will allow me. I want to read a scripture to you guys. I am convinced and sure of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will continue it until the day of Jesus Christ, right up until the time of his return, developing that good work and perfecting and bringing it to a full completion in you. I'm reading from Philippians 1 verse 6. Till next week, lots of love from me, Rory Alec.